This episode is brought to you by TaxAct. Don't do your taxes alone. Join TaxAct's National Admin Night. Admin nights are social gatherings for getting through your to-do list. So get ready for a night of fun, finding deductions, and filing taxes with TaxAct, where you can file your federal and state return for just $49 through April 8. Let's get together and get them over with. Visit taxact.com/admin-night for details.
This episode is brought to you by Fandango. People say fans are too distracted these days, but the truth is, when a great movie hits the screen, you show up, you stay glued, invested, part of the story. And without fans like you, there'd be no cinema magic, no shared moments. So head to Fandango.com to get tickets, stream, or rent or buy top movies and series. Fandango loves fans.
Welcome back to The Case For with Chris Cox, that pretend procedural that is set not in the court of last resort, but rather the court of the Disney World Resort. This is the podcast where theme park expert Len Testa and mind reader Chris Cox will regularly debate some of the more trivial aspects of vacationing in Orlando, what makes visiting there an absolute joy or a complete misery. I, by the way, am the less than honorable James Robespierre Hill. I will be presiding over today's proceedings, and after hearing Chris and Len's argument, I will then render my verdict. By the way, all verdicts are final until, of course, they're not, which means we'd love to have you, the listener, also weigh in with your thoughts on these not-so-weighty matters.
Your Honor, if I may, just once, I'd love to come in here and have this space look like a courtroom. What's the deal with the old-timey barber chair over there?
That's a key piece of evidence in a case that I'm supposed to be presiding over later today. After the three of us talk, one of my colleagues here at the courthouse is involved in a dispute with a local merchant, and he's asked for my help in resolving this matter, making this case go away.
Isn't that a breach of ethics, or at the very least a conflict of interest?
You say breach of ethics. I say this is an opportunity to score a parking spot that's a whole lot closer to the front of the courthouse. I don't like the hike I currently have to make from the very back of the municipal parking lot.
Sorry, I've not really been paying attention. That barber's chair, I can't... Oh, yeah, it looks familiar. Oh, yeah, it looks familiar and not for good reasons. Can I check something, Your Honor? The other judge in the courthouse that you've agreed to help out, who is it?
Judge Turpin.
That's exactly what I was afraid of. The local merchant that Judge Turpin is having a dispute with, he's going to be a barber, right?
Absolutely, hence the chair.
Wow.
Slightly dodgy English accent, last name Todd.
That's what it says right here in the docket. That's impressive, Mr. Cox. How would you possibly know that?
Well, mind reader, obviously. I thought we'd established that. Also, big fan of musical theatre would be what I was doing if I could act, dance, or sing. Can't do any, sadly. But look, I don't want to attend the tale of anything today, so I think we should move things along because I'm not near this building when any version of Todd, first name Sweeney, stands before Your Honour. The Johnny Depp version, the Michael Ball version if you're from the UK, or any version at all. Don't want to be near it. No, thank you. Have clean clothes. Do not want to have to wash blood out of them.
Okay. Even Josh Groban? Really?
Okay, only if he sings, though.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. Well, then. Okay. Well, let's move things along quickly then today. I mean, in fact, that's kind of appropriate given the topic that you, me, and Mr. Testa will be discussing in this edition of The Case For is the use of express passes over at Universal Orlando's newest theme park, which is Epic Universe. Now, either of you like to sketch out the scenario here?
Yeah. So this is actually, Your Honour, not only just a case for, but also helping me out because I am a few weeks away from going and having a few days in Orlando, SeaWorld and Disney and Putt-Putt and golfing. See, I am a musical theatre fan, see if you got the reference. And I'm going to be going to Epic Universe. Last time I was in Orlando last year, we left the day that Epic Universe did its first first preview for the hotel guests, and I decided not to go and instead to fly home because it was too expensive to change the flight. So finally I'm getting to go. And the question really is whether I'm going to splash the cash on express passes. And I'm in two minds about it, and therefore I thought you, Len, and me could probably come up with an answer and record a podcast at the same time. Look at that. Two birds, one stone.
There we go. Mr. Testa?
First, I love that Chris is turning the show into problems that he needs to solve for himself. It's like therapy, and we're just involved. I think that's great. But let's talk about the cost first for Epic Universe Express passes, because it's going to help us put some of the other pros and cons in context around money. One of the things that we've learned, I think, being in this business for a while, is anytime you do pros and cons, people always assume the phrase "for the money I paid" at the end of any question or statement. So let's talk about costs. So an express pass for Epic Universe costs between $210 and $360 per person, depending on when you go. Then that includes tax. There are 12 rides. So the per ride cost is $17 to $30 per person per ride. 2 of those are stage shows you probably don't need Express Pass for, so really it's 10. In terms of the cost, just to put that in comparison, it's roughly the same as the cost of Lightning Lane Premier Pass for Hollywood Studios' 12 attractions. Hollywood Studios has 3 stage shows in there, and Epic has 2. So, yeah, that's the rough comparable right there. So, really, the thing that we're talking about here for Express Pass for Epic Universe, we can really say same thing for Hollywood Studios' Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
Yeah, and there's no massive difference between the 2 passes, because Express Pass at Epic is a one-shot only deal, just like Premier Pass, right? You get one time, that's it, no other rides.
That's correct.
You can go on and you have to get in the line. Yeah.
Right. You get one free entry into the priority queue, whatever it's called.
Yeah. And I can also say about the prices, they are dynamic. I first looked for when we're going, and they were about, I think, $300 a person then. And I didn't buy them because I needed some decision-making advice from you guys. So look, today, actually, they're now $330 for the same day. So they are changing. So they're, if you're interested in it, and at the end of this, you're like, oh, I want them, and you see a cheap price, get in on it, because they're only going to go up from what I've seen. So Here's why I think it would be good. Number 1, don't like waiting in lines. There you go. But also, number 2, don't like spending money. They've cancelled each other out. I feel like my aim visiting Epic Universe is to be able to go on every ride. And this pretty much guarantees me that. Not only does it guarantee me going on every ride, it guarantees me going on it with my kids, hopefully with them not getting too stressed out about waiting in lines, and it guarantees us having a bit more of a relaxed day, because we can do that thing Express Pass allows us, sort of pick and choose and not have to worry about running around. I know some of the lines are very long. I've heard horror stories, and also I know that ride reliability is a big issue. And the last thing I want to do is spend 2 hours to then not get on a ride because it's broken down.
Yeah, I think, Chris, those are the 2 big benefits to Express Pass. The fact that you can go on everything in one day, especially if you have small children. You want to minimize the amount of time that you're waiting in line with them. And then the second thing is it's sort of insurance against rides breaking down. So let's go through that in order. So the attractions that are covered, basically everything except Dragon Racers Rally in Epic Universe.
And that's the flat ride, right? Which does the spinny stuff.
Right. It's the flat ride that does the spinny things. And that's got 2 sides to it as well. Because it has 2 sides that operate independently, it's one of the most reliable rides in Epic Universe. So even though it doesn't have Express Pass, it doesn't break down nearly as often as the other attractions. So you don't really need Express Pass for insurance there. We'll talk a little bit later on about ride downtime, just to put that into perspective. But I do like the idea of being able to see everything in one day. And just for kicks on this, I was looking at the cost of the Express Passes versus the cost of breaking your one day up in Epic Universe into 2 days, which would require 2 sets of tickets and an extra night in a hotel, right? Because when you're talking about $330 per person times 4, there's 4 people in your family. That's a decent chunk of change, right? That's $1,400 towards or $1,300 towards another trip potentially, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And also remembering that one of my children is only 6 and probably not going to go on quite a few of those rides that we're going to be paying for her to not have to wait in line for.
Do you when that happens, do you like just take the leash that she's on and just tie it against a fence post like she's a horse?
Yeah, just leave it there. A little bowl of water, some hay, she'll be happy.
Exactly. Some oats, exactly. All right, so
Actually, the upside of that as a pro is if you have a child that's not going to go on a ride and you've already paid for an express pass, my guess is double rides for me.
Exactly. The adults can take turn. Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? All right, so the cheapest on-site hotel, and I looked at early June for this, is around $240 a night at Surfside. You can save around $100 a night by staying off-site. So potentially you could stay off-site to bring these things down more. The interesting thing is if you break down that Universal Express cost, it's, the average is $285 for one person. So if you were to save $100 by staying off-site, yeah, that's an automatic yes, right? The amount of money that you would save there over the course of like 4 or 5 nights pays for Epic Universe Express passes for one night. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, and it's also worth pointing out here that the deluxe hotels where you get Express passes normal is only for, as I've discovered, Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida. The only way to get an Express pass for Epic is to buy the Express pass.
Yeah, we have. I think we have Disney to thank for this. When they started charging for Lightning Lane, it gave every other theme park permission to do that sort of thing as well. Universal must have had that baked into contracts with Lowe's, I'm guessing. The hotel operator for the 3 hotels that you can get express passes for the other 2 parks, but not for the third park. Anyway, for 2 people, it's $570 for express passes. So $470 by staying off site. If you take the $100 a night off. For 3 people, it's $855. The incremental cost of going from a 3-day to a 4-day ticket is around $480, plus another $160 for the hotels. So three people is right at the break-even point. I calculated the additional cost of one more day for 3 people to be $840, whereas the express passes are $855. So basically the same amount of money. That's your break-even, I think. For 4 people, it's $1,040 if you were staying off-site. And at that point, it's actually cheaper to stay another day than to buy the express passes, but it's only by like $200. So then the value of that extra day of vacation comes into play. So it makes sense for 1 and 2 people, I think. 3 is sort of your break-even. 4, you got to start thinking about whether your vacation days are worth, $100 or $200.
And here's the thing about staying off site as well is you lose early entry. So any of the Universal hotels will give you early entry into Epic. And as you'll know from our previous episodes, I believe early entry plus Express Pass or Lightning Lane or Premier Pass or Genie Plus or whatever we're calling it these days is kind of a golden ticket because you can double up because you can use that early entry to get on something that you will later need your Express Pass for. And in our world, the kids are huge Harry Potter and Mario fans. So I'm like, okay, Express Pass plus early entry means we can hit up one of them first and then do it again later in the day using an Express Pass.
Right. And I've done this actually, this exact thing in Epic Universe. I got an Express Pass, did early entry in the morning. I actually went to Super Nintendo World, but there was enough time left over in the day for me to go back to the hotel. I was staying at Stella Nova with Laurel. We took a nap. We came back and still had Express Passes and still managed to see everything else in the park in one day. I think we skipped the How to Train Your Dragon show, but it's the same, in everywhere in the world. But with early entry and Express Pass, you can definitely see everything in one day at a very relaxed pace. And Chris, are your girls still taking midday naps, or have they grown out of that?
They're out of a nap world, but I'm always happy for a nap.
The saddest.
Go for a swim.
I remember where I was in my house the day that young Hannah Testa said, "I don't think I want to take naps anymore," and I was like, "But the dog and I do." It's kind of 2 against 1 here. Yeah, that was a sad day.
But I do.
Okay. Yeah.
I do love going back for a early afternoon swim and a relax before going back. And I think that's the thing with Express is the thing that makes me go, oh, do I just, like you often say, cry once and pay the money?
Yep.
In that it allows us to fully enjoy the environment. We can see the shows. We can eat relaxed meals. We can go back to Stella Nova, which is where we've booked to stay for a bit of a swim.
Yep.
I also, I wasn't going to bother buying power-up bands, but also I feel like if I'm going to buy Express Passes, it then allows me to buy buy power-up bands so they can do the games in Mario and do the little Bowser extra thing.
Oh, absolutely. And you'll have time to do it. Yeah, it makes total sense.
Speaking of which, when I was out just this past week, when as part of my trip to Southern California, we went to Super Nintendo World at Universal Hollywood, and this was the first time I was there with Miles Hersey, who 8-year-old, with his power-up band, and he had completed all the outside tasks. So I was actually able to go in with him to that Bowser Jr. Shadow Show.
The challenge, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting watching the 3 outside components and then going in and finally getting to see that show. And you got to get the power-up bands. After seeing that and seeing, well, first of all, poor Eric almost get a heart attack from what is the giant killer plant that you have to run around like a crazy person?
I don't
keep it asleep or that sort of thing. But yeah, I was watching Eric doing that and having a heart attack for him, just watching him run around.
Can I get away with just buying one power-up band? Because at the minute, it looks like I'm going to be spending $1,000 on express passes.
You've got 2 kids.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should have 2 power bands.
Either of you want to buy a power-up band?
Yeah, Chris is going to start a GoFundMe for his Super Nintendo World visit. I think that's absolutely appropriate. Yeah. But I do really like the idea.
I'm good. Here's my current plan, all right? And I'm going to get into some of the cons about it outside of price. So we have 5 days in Orlando, slightly less. And this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. We fly in Wednesday afternoon. We get there kind of late afternoon, early evening. Going to stay at Stella Nova that night. Mm-hmm. Then I thought we'd go into the park that evening, have dinner, probably look around Mario World then, which means the next morning when I'm early entering and making them walk at a fast enough pace that it's officially not counted as a run, but it's on the cusp. Then they're not looking at stuff. Right. I'm wanting to take photos. I'm like, we've already seen it. Let's get going. Let's get to the front of line for Mario or Minecart Madness or something. And then we have that whole day in the park with express passes, hoping to go on everything. They want to meet Toothless. They want to meet the Mario characters. So maybe we do that. And then the next morning, we'll stay overnight again at Stella Nova. And then the next morning, we're going to move hotels over to Portofino and do. But I thought we'd do an early entry morning, get some more stuff done that we might have missed, that might have gone down or that they loved, and then head over to the other parks before having one more evening, maybe at Epic, before going home. Now, to me, that feels like a lot of time at Epic, and I could probably go without the express passes. But also, I worry about rides going down and going all this way to go specifically to Epic and feeling like, well, I want to make the odds go in my favor, really.
Yeah, the ride. So 2 things. One, the ride downtime is an issue, and I want to talk about that. But the other thing you mentioned that I want to point out too, meeting Toothless and Hiccup is not included in Express Pass coverage. So we had said Dragon Racers Rally wasn't covered, also Toothless and Hiccup. And that's important to a lot of people because that's a super popular character meet. Okay, so those 2 things aren't.
So my thinking there is, and you've both been to this part, my thinking is day 1 early entry, probably Mario. Yes. Day 2 early entry, Burke and Toothless.
Absolutely. First thing, yeah.
That's genius. Go with that. Yeah, absolutely.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit usaa.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
We bring up a point about ride downtime, and I think this is one of the big advantages of Express Pass, or for that matter, a Lightning Lane, is that it guarantees you a ride as long as the ride is operating. And for Epic Universe in particular, they've been having substantial issues with ride downtime and ride capacity. Just to give you an example, so for the first half of this month, March, Minecart Madness in Super Nintendo World is averaging just over 15% downtime per day. So it's about 111 minutes per day in a 12-hour day, which is as bad as Rise of the Resistance was at its worst point. So that's almost 2 hours a day of downtime. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge is averaging just under 90 minutes a day of downtime. Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry is averaging around 82 minutes a day. Fire Drill over in Isle of Burke is about an hour a day. Hiccup's Wing Glider is about an hour a day. Monsters Unchained, about 51 minutes a day. Curse of the Werewolf, 44 minutes a day. So if you add all of that up, the 7 best rides in the park are averaging around an hour and 10 minutes of downtime per day. And that, let's just say, that's not acceptable, right? Universal's...
No, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Particularly that it's the two, Mario rides being the most with a downtime, and they're the two that have already existed, right?
Right, but Bowser's Challenge exists in Universal Studios Hollywood. You would think that they would have this one nailed down, but no, 86 minutes a day.
And Minecart Madness is in Japan.
Right, and then they should know. The other interesting thing is if you look at the rope drop availability, like is this ride open when the park opens, if it's supposed to be, right? Battle at the Ministry is down 35% of the time at rope drop. Hiccup's Wing Gliders is down 33%. Stardust Racers, which is down until April. I don't even know if it'll be open for your trip.
100% of the minute?
100% right now. Yeah. Stardust Racers 31%. Minecart Madness 30% down at rope drop. I mean, these are terrible numbers. And again, we're still technically within the first year that Epic Universe has been operating. They've got until May 22nd to get this resolved, and I know that they're working on it. But, come May 23rd, we're going to have to start asking ourselves, is the price that we're paying for admission acceptable given this amount of downtime, right? So,
and it feels like that is a big worry, right? And particularly one of the reasons I'm buying the Express Pass is to avoid that being an issue. And obviously there's a hope that at some point in the day, something probably will go down and I'll be able to make up for it and it'll go back up later and I'll be able to do it. But
guarantee it. Yeah.
It feels like I've been trying to work out the plan for our days, and it feels like actually it's not this type of park you can properly use a touring plan for just yet. You have to kind of have alternates A, Bs, and Cs in your head because you're going to have to be seeing what's open when you want to go on it.
Yeah, the odds of all of the attractions being up all day is basically zero. So you're going to have to adapt. And complicating that is the fact that these big attractions, these popular attractions, are down so much at rope drop, right? Because if you're taking your family in for early entry, you're getting them up super early, you're getting them out the door super early, so that you can be at the front of that first line. If you've got a 1 in 3 chance of all of that effort being for naught, that's a horrible vacation experience. And again, Universal's got until May 22nd, and after that point, we're going to start talking about value for money, right? But for you,
what
Chris,
a terrible start to your day that would be, right? I can't. I'm already stressed thinking about getting them up early and getting in a line only to wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then it's still not open, and you feel like you've wasted that whole morning.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the thing that you're
off to a bad start.
Your kids are going to talk about you in therapy for years to come after that, and but for you, Chris, I mean, I think the fact that you're coming from so far away. And, this is like a once a year visit for you. I see the advantage of Express Pass here. I think you should do it.
I have a slight worry in that I feel like, are we going to lose out on more value in that we're not going to wait in the line, which is good, but I've heard about these of the amazing themed queues at Monsters Unchained and the Mario and Battle of the Ministry. Am I going to miss out on all of the good stuff there?
Okay, if I might interject here. When Mr. Schul and I went and did, the Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment, what was interesting is that we arrived at the entrance queue, and there was the entrance of the building, and the team member there at the door sort of blinked at the two of us and said, "I'll show you where the elevator is."
I said, "I'll show you where the elevator is."
Just these two elderly gentlemen, they'll die in the queue. Let me move them to the elevator.
I love that queue. That is that in Battle at the Ministry. Those are some the best queues I've ever seen.
Am I going to miss them by going in the express queue?
You will walk through some of them and you'll still get the pre-shows. I mean, here's the thing. You can always visit the queues the next time you're there, right?
I can always get in a line.
You can always get in a line.
I'm British. We do like getting in a queue.
Yeah, it's true. I do. The only other thing, Chris, that I had considered for this trip, besides the Express Pass, was, if you're really trying to make the most of one day, is one of those semi-private VIP tours. Have you looked at those?
Yes, I looked into this. Now, they were, for ages, they weren't on the website. And then now what happens is they seem to be opening up availability sort of ad hoc, but every day I would check the website and suddenly they were there. And this worked out is like a half-day VIP tour where you get to go on everything with your guide and then you get Express Pass for the rest of a day. And actually, it wasn't that much more than the Express Pass was going to cost. I mean, if I'm already paying that Express Pass, I might as well pay a bit more, right? And get more out of it. Have you got the numbers, Len?
I do, actually. So a semi-private VIP tour is $460 to $700 per person, depending on the day that you go. So the incremental cost of the VIP tour on top of the Express Pass is $250 to $340 per person. But the interesting thing is the VIP tour comes with Express Pass when you're done. So this is, I think, what,
Which is about that price anyway, right?
Ish.
That's sort of 250 to 340 marks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's basically you get a tiny discount on it. It depends on the day and the VIP tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would enable you to see the very popular attractions twice in one day. So if you're a really big fan of Harry Potter or you're a really big fan of Universal's Classic Monsters or Nintendo, you could get second rides in there. Now that starts to get pricey.
And you get some food?
We did the VIP tour. I think we got food, but I don't remember it. It was one of those really long trips. I think you do. Yeah. I think you get snacks. Yeah. And you definitely get waters and stuff like that. By the way, if you're going to do either a VIP tour or a semi-private VIP tour at any Universal park, my go-to VIP tour guide is named Logan S. You should definitely ask for him and say, friend of Len.
Oh, good to know. That's a way to be treated poorly.
Exactly. I believe the term is shunned, but okay, do your thing.
Okay.
So I looked into this and, I was very keen. I'm going actually, this might make sense. And actually my thought on doing that would mean actually you could probably pull a day out of the time we're spending at Universal. We can lose that safety net and have a bit more of a relaxing day. And I decided not to, Len, because here's a useful thing to know if you've got small children and tiny humans like me. Is if you have tiny humans who don't want to go on the ride, Universal say that you can then the child can't stay with the guide,
right? And
you can't do a rider swap, which means one of the parents has to stay with that child, and therefore they said because the tour moves at a pace, that parent can't then ride the ride after looking after the child. So you're basically paying for the express tour, the VIP tour, but then you're not able to go on whatever rides your child doesn't want to go on. So in our case, that would probably be both Stardust Racers, possibly Monsters Unchained as well. Right. And I'm like, well, I'm not, three of the big rides you'd have lose because of that. So, so I've decided against that.
Yeah, I think when your girls are older, and that's only true for the semi-private VIP tour. For the private VIP tour, yes, which is just your family, they'll do whatever you want. Semi-private, yeah, they have to make sure that everyone's needs are satisfied. I have done the semi-private tour, and there are times where if the other group that I was with was super cool. Like they wanted to ride some stuff twice. I was fine with it. We wanted to do some stuff twice. They were fine with it. So you kind of group together and sort of all agree to get along on it. It's, and again, the fact that you've got an express pass when you're done allows you to go back and do, anything else you wanted to do again. So I get how it doesn't work for your particular situation. And a private VIP tour is like, what, $7,000. That's just out of the question for this particular
I might as
thing.
well buy a theme park at that price.
Yeah, so I really like the idea of Express Pass. So you have one more question though, right? Because we were talking about this before.
Yeah, I do. How long am I going to be waiting in express lines? Because I remember doing Express Pass for last Easter, so spring break time, very busy. We had express passes at Universal from the hotel, and we did Gringotts, and we waited 45 minutes in the express pass line, which was express compared to the 3-hour line, the normal line. But to me, that felt like if I was spending a lot of money for an express pass, which I may well be doing, I don't want to be spending 45 minutes in a line still.
So the interesting thing that we've noticed with Epic, starting around mid-December of 2025. So, in the last three and a half months, one of the really interesting things we've noticed is that it seems that Universal is making a concerted effort to keep the waits in the express line to 15 minutes or less. which is great if you're paying for Express Pass. If you're not, if you're in a standby line, then those people who paid more are getting super preferential treatment. It's sort of like what Disney's doing with Lightning Lane. They're trying to keep those lines down as well. So yeah, I would expect everything's going to get under 15 minutes unless something's going wrong with the attraction. So under 15 minutes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So Chris, I mean, I think this is one of those rare cases where we all agree in advance of the judge's decision here that you should probably get the Express Pass.
I think I'm probably going to get the Express Pass. What do you reckon, Your Honor?
Well, I just have one final question to throw on the pile here, because in November, when Mr. Schull and I did our visit to Epic Universe, they were doing daytime practices, rehearsals. I don't know what one calls what they're doing for their Lagoon show there. Len, is there any news at all about when the Lagoon show is formally going to debut at this park? Or
my guess is it's going to happen sometime around May. And here's a little tidbit that Jim, you and I are going to share on our upcoming Disney Dish. But Chris, I'll tell you this. Apparently, Epic is reworking all of the portals, the portal entrances, so that they can open up Celestial Park at night to non-paying guests like City Walk.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So that is going to be super interesting, and that's when I expect that nighttime show to launch, around the time that they can close off the portals, because that's going to draw a ton of people in for the food, the merch, the ambiance, the general vibe of Celestial Park. And I think that's going to be super interesting. So yeah, Jim, I'd expect to see that by summer.
Wow, very cool. Okay, well, gents, thanks as always for your informed take on this matter.
Well, I'm very glad to be of service. Thank you for being to my service as well, Your Honor. But actually, me and Len, we've got to get going.
Oh, really? So soon?
Yeah, I don't want to cross paths with a demon barber of Fleet Street, and don't want to have to sing any Sondheim. I'm not that talented.
Oh, come on. Surely you have time for a quick cup of coffee down in the employee cafeteria.
Oh, I could be up for some coffee. I've heard they've recently made some fun changes to the menu down in the employee cafeteria.
Oh, yeah. The meat pies are great.
Oh, no.
Especially they've got this shepherd's pie peppered with actual shepherd on top. Oh, my God. Lovely.
Len, we gotta go. If Mr. Todd says, I'll give you a free shave, no is the answer.
All right. Thank you there. Okay, and on that note, folks, another session in these hallowed halls, the court of the Disney World Resort, has now come to a close. My thanks to our would-be barristers, theme park expert Len Testa and master illusionist Chris Cox, for arguing the pros and cons of getting Express Pass when you're planning to visit Universal Orlando's newest theme park, Epic Universe. And just a reminder, though, a full verdict won't be rendered until you, the listener, finally weighs in. In fact, we'll be airing an episode of The Case for shortly where Len, Chris, and myself share some of your thoughts about the topics we've discussed recently here on The Case for. As for our next show, Mr. Cox, Mr. Testa, and I will be continuing our focus on the Universal Orlando Resort as we discuss which of the deluxe hotels there on site is really worth staying at. But until then, The Case for with Chris Cox is now closed. Thanks again for listening, folks. This is the less than honorable James Robespierre Hill, and this court will be back in session soon.